I think what you've done is you created freedom. And the beautiful part about freedom, especially as an entrepreneur, I guess I'm a serial entrepreneur. I went to law school to become an entrepreneur. That's very interesting. But as an entrepreneur, I think what we're searching for is to be the CEO of our lives, to be able to work when we want, where we want, and with who we want, right? And you're determining your freedom because you get to take a nap every day, man.
I sacrificed a
Look what
nap.
you're doing for me. It's like,
You know what I'm
I
saying?
I served a mission for my church in Uruguay, and in the big city of Montevideo, there they don't take siestas. But in the smaller cities, I just always thought, how can they shut down the entire city to take a nap? Everybody in the city takes a nap, and I guess what you're saying. I Hey, welcome to the Networking Star Podcast. I am your host, Jeffery Boyle. And here on Networking Star, I have some of the most innovative entrepreneurs, thought leaders, and people that just make us be, do, and have more in life. Today, I'm joined by Isaac Ham III. He is an author, and he is a speaker, and he also is known as Mr. CEO. Isaac, thanks so much for being with me.
Thank you for having me. I'm super excited when you DM me, right? Because that's the new wave. It's like people don't even ask for phone numbers. They're like,
No.
"I'll DM you," or "What's your Instagram?" But us
Yeah.
not even knowing each other, so I was very excited to join your podcast because I went on your page, of course, and watched you interview other interesting people, and I was like, "Oh, he really asks good questions and stuff." So I was super excited. So thank you for having me.
Sometimes people ask me, why do you do this? What are you up to? And I'm like, I just like meeting cool people. It's one of the best places to meet great people. Now, you tomorrow are about to go to Barnes and Noble and do a book signing for your new book. How in the world does a person go from the idea of a book to actually being able to get it into Barnes and Noble? Because a lot of people can do the self-publishing on
Yeah.
Amazon, but how do you get Barnes and Noble to let you come in and do a book signing?
Of course, it's all about relationships. I feel like 99% of everything is a relationship. And through the pandemic, what happened was I already had an idea for a 13 chapter book. And then I realized as a brand and marketing strategist, I had to understand my target demographic. And I know with me, I don't like to read a lot, right? So you couldn't put 100-page book in front of me, but you could put 100-page book with a little bit of font, but pictures, and I'll read all through that. So, and still get the same information versus physically, reading something. So I took those 13 chapters and I just started creating. At first, we was going to start with the ebook. And then I said, oh, well, I have about 40 pages that still can be technically a book that can be published. And I went through Ingram Sparks, a friend of mine, Taryn. She was not my ghostwriter. She was my editor
Right.
because I had everything written and she just went through and just kind of expound on, you could say I walked through the door, but then she would take it and say I walked through the door and smelled the roses and heard the coffee pot going. And so that's what you need an editor for. That's going to look at what you wrote and then expound on those things and give people the motion, give people the feel, the smells and all that stuff. So once I did it through Ingram Sparks, they place it on Books A Million, Walmart, different outlets and stuff like that, one being Barnes and Noble. And once you get your book like registered and put in with the ISBN number, that's the the SKU card. I mean the SKU bar in the back. Barnes and Noble already has you in the system. So what you then do is call your local Barnes and Noble and you say, hey, I'm an author of such and such book. Here's my ISBN number. And they then make the decision on pulling your book, like basically ordering your book internally. And then when you do book signings, they scan it and you get paid. Of course, the kickback comes back once it's registered through Ingram Sparks and then you get paid. But that's the easiest way instead of ordering your own books. It's cheaper to order your own books too, right? But then if you can just get it through Barnes and Noble or outlet like that, they do like each place does a different split. So if they get it, it's a different split. But if I can bring in my books, then it's 100% for me. So it's the whichever way you think is easiest. You know what I mean? So I just had them do the work. I've done it in Vegas. I've done it in LA. I did it at the Grove. That was really cool to do it at the Grove, because like, who does it at the Grove? You know. So I'm just looking to do more Barnes and Nobles, and for other clients too. I've done it, so I know that I can do it for myself. So that's pretty much the relationships that I
Yes,
have.
the key is one of the things that you talked about is that your editor helped you make it better. It was, I was reading the story of how the Kardashians became so big. They had I guess you'd call a kingmaker, a queenmaker in their case, that she's behind the scenes, but she's the one that's powered this media empire. And so
Yeah.
how important was it for you to have somebody helping you guide you through this process? I'm sure it seems super easy for you now, but when you were first going through it, how much did that editor make the difference for you to do it?
I mean, with anything, it's stressful. You know, you're writing your stuff, and then you get frustrated because you're writing something, you're reading it the way that you want to see it, and then the editor comes and say, "Hey, this doesn't make sense. This may need to go here. This may need to go there," and you have to be open for the opinion of somebody who's outside looking in. As a brand strategist, an event designer. I do flyers, I do all these different things. And when I have clients and they're like, no, I like this. And I'm like, no, just trust me. So you got to trust the process. So if I'm suggesting that people should trust my process, then I have to trust others. So it's a trust game. But I've known my editor since 2008. We used to work together at a job, so I've known her for years. So I trust, and then I've seen her works over the years. So I trust her. So it's really about relationships. So relationship, I guess the key words in this interview is all about relationships, because once you see somebody working and you see the end result, then it's like, okay, come over here. I got something for you to do. I got some work for you. So, I mean, like anything, like I said, it can be it can be stressful because you want things. It's times that you want to get things out. It was times that she was like, "Oh no, wait, let me fix this," and I'm like, "Come on," even down to, and this is the first book, "The Brand Is You: 5 Easy Steps to Building
Yeah.
a Successful Brand." So, like, even with I did the graphics, right? I literally did these graphics, but then you have to take this, like right here. This is what you submit. See how this is next to each
Yeah.
other? You have to submit that with it's a lot. People don't realize that until they go to press send and you get a rejection like, hey, this is too small, this is too big, the fonts. It's so stressful. You know what I mean? And like anything,
But is
sometimes
it
people
worth
don't
it?
know how
That's
to.
the question. You say it's stressful, but I think it's also got to catapult your career as well, right? I mean,
Oh yeah.
so
It felt really
what
good. It felt really good to say that I'm an author. People get their doctorate or they get a doctorate, and
sure.
if they go and get any letters behind their name, it's kind of like people are like, "Oh, you're an author," because people
Uh-huh.
don't know how simple becoming an author is, right? So whether your book is long or short, a short read, but knowing that you can get somebody to be an editor that's going to charge you minimum dollars, or maybe partner with you to be noted as a co-writer, or just be noted as a ghostwriter. So to be called an author is definitely like an honor, you know what I mean, with anything
Well,
that anybody works hard for.
right behind you, you've got the big a big poster that says "Dream Big." I think there's a lot of people that dream big,
Hmm.
and then underneath that, I think it says "Execution." If I can see it
Yes.
properly, so the executing is the difficult thing. My dad used to say all the time, it's one thing to dream, but it's another to be in to dream big, but it's another thing to live in the clouds and not come down.
Yeah.
And so how do what do you say to that person? Because as you said, it's stressful, it can be scary. How do you take that leap from dreaming of being an author to actually doing it? Is it just a matter of just what do you do?
Well, I think the biggest thing that helped me is that the pandemic was happening, so I
Okay.
didn't have anything else to do. Um, I knew I had these ideas. I know that when I have conversations with people, I know how people feel after I
Yeah.
talk to them. So I
Right.
said, why not put this into a book form and reach and touch the people that don't know me personally, that
Yeah.
is just on Amazon looking for a new read, a quick read, or who's going on Barnes and Noble to buy a workbook or buy a self help book.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I just think it was easier because it wasn't nothing to do. We had nothing to do. We some was collecting, the government funded money. Some people were sitting home, in the corner crying. So the good thing was I was doing the collecting of the money. And then believe it or not, my business grew in the year to 2020 and 2021 because people were home doing what we're doing now
Yeah.
and trying to figure out how they can be a brand, and they had additional money. So it was a win for me, and that's it. Is unfortunate, of course, we know this, but some businesses really flourished in that. I know people who know how to sew, and they start making masks, and then they're donating some and getting paid by hospitals, getting paid by this person. So I think in 2020, I just had a lot of free time on my hand, um, and I was able to sit down and really like come together with my thoughts. But also, I already started writing these things, these ideas.
I
So I
think
said,
though
let me
the
take
difference
that.
between you and other people, though, you may say that you had some time on your hands. You took advantage of the time.
Yeah,
And if you read throughout history, some of the most successful companies came during the ashes of complete despair, right? Things were
yeah,
just doing terribly, but they were the ones who said, you know what? Screw it. I'm going to make it work. I'm going to do this. I don't care what the odds are. So you may look at that as, hey, I didn't have anything to do. But there was a lot of people that didn't have anything to do,
right, right.
and you're the one that took advantage of it. So why Mr. CEO? As I've gone through some of your stuff. What's the story behind Mr. CEO?
It's funny because I'm trying to think, where did I get that from? And I don't know. Shout out to my mentor, Deanna Williams. She's also the co-founder of Black Music Month, which was founded in 1979. So we celebrated 44 years this year. And then Mr. Kenny Gamble. But I want to say that she could have said that. I don't know because it's weird because I think the Migos, the group the Migos, in one of their songs, they say Mr. CEO, and I was like, oh, I already beat them to it. Like I was already calling myself Mr. CEO. And sometimes you have to, with anything, you have to put out there what you want people to know about you. So you just saying Mr. CEO is like, I want people to know that I'm a CEO. I always tell people too, if somebody walks up to you and say, you're a great host, you're a great podcaster, you're a great friend, you have to believe what people are telling you because we don't see what other people see. So if somebody's complimenting you and multiple people are telling you the same thing, you have to start realizing you are that person.
Yeah.
I mean, in a bad way too. Sometimes people are bad people and people keep on and they don't see it and it's like you keep on doing the bad thing. But so that's with anything. But if somebody's repetitive and they're telling you these positive things, so we're gonna stay positive on all things, right? So I just had to realize like I am a CEO, and I don't let money in my bank account determine what a CEO is, right? Because I know that success. I forget the guy's name, but he's a motivational speaker. He cusses all the time, like he's known to cuss. I forget his
Gary
name, but
Vaynerchuk.
say it again.
Gary Vaynerchuk.
I think so. He's like young. He just always cuss, but he
Gary
said,
Vaynerchuk, I guess, wouldn't be young anymore. He's my age. I'd like to think I'm young, but Gary
I
Vaynerchuk
think
is like
I
crazy.
forget. Yeah, I forget his name, but he's very successful on like social media and people reposting him and stuff. But he talked about like how do you measure success? What is success? My success is that I work for myself. I get up when I want to. I take a nap a day, keep the stress away. I'll be 42 in December. So a nap keeps all of this looking still in my early 30s. So success, if you let the stress of success, it can kill you. You know what I mean? So what makes you happy? So I look at success as what is my happy, and I wake up every day happy. I mean, I'm stressed about certain things, yeah, but my success is that I don't worry too much about certain things that I know my best friends who work a 9 to 5 stress about. So I think I'm very successful in this point of my life.
I think what you've done is you've created freedom. And the beautiful part about freedom, especially as an entrepreneur, I guess I'm a serial entrepreneur. I went to law school to become an entrepreneur. That's very interesting. But as an entrepreneur, I think what we're searching for is to be the CEO of our lives, to to be able to work when we want, where we want, and with who we want, right?
Yeah.
And even as I say to people, they're like, what's the purpose of your podcast? It's to really introduce other people to these great people that I network with. It's just called Networkingstar, and I thought that's a great name because
Mm-hmm.
you get to meet cool people like you. How else would I have been able to do that if I didn't have the guts to reach out and meet cool people? And you're determining your freedom because you get to take a nap every day, man. I mean,
Oh my
that's
gosh, a
how many more
nap.
people would want to do that?
I missed my nap today, but I slept a little longer today.
There you go.
I know.
So,
See, this is nap time. So see, Jeff. You see, I sacrificed a
look what
nap.
you're doing for me. It's like,
You know what I'm
I
saying?
I served a mission for my church in Uruguay, and in the big city of Montevideo, there they don't take siestas. But in the smaller cities, I just always thought, how can they shut down the entire city to take a nap? Everybody in the city takes a nap, and I guess what you're saying is that they're living it, man. They're living the life because they get to take the nap each day.
But you know, because literally, like, I don't have ADHD, but like I feel like I do. I've just never been diagnosed. But sometimes my brain needs to shut down because, and even in the midst of like watching TV, I'm still thinking. Like it's like, and then I get mad at myself because I'm like, I'm not physically doing something, right? I'm not physically typing. I'm not physically writing, but I'm physically thinking. And sometimes I catch myself being mad, like get up and do, and I'm like, wait, I am doing something because, and I'll wake up from a nap, I'll wake up from watching my new my guilty pleasure is SWAT on Netflix. I don't know why, but it has me locked in. I wasn't a fan of what is his name, Shamar Moore, but now I'm a fan. So I can sit there and I'm watching, but yet one side of my brain is just thinking about the next thing, and then I'm like, okay, and then I'm running back into my office and I'm just, writing and stuff like that. Um, it's a lot of places I think and I get ideas. So resting your brain is really a good thing. It's not really a bad thing. It's when you
I
become
think it's
lazy
just the
with it.
ability to shut it off as an entrepreneur. That's one of the biggest
Yeah.
difficulties that we have is shutting it off. My wife, my wife and I've been married 25 years. In the beginning, I think it bothered her. It's like, what, you're always on. And,
Hmm.
even in church, sometimes I'd be doing business or something like that. And she's like, you got to shut down. But when you enjoy it so much, and I think that that's the thing is, as an entrepreneur, you better like what you're doing because you make
Oh yeah.
sacrifices.
Yeah, yeah.
So what would you tell a brand new entrepreneur, even an entrepreneur that's trying to take his or her game to the next level? What do you tell that person as Mr. CEO on what they need to do?
I would just tell them to stay focused. I always tell people don't be scared to find yourself rebranding. A lot of times people will brand themselves and then they're scared to pivot. And we have to pivot in this industry. And going back to the pandemic, we had to pivot to where we had to get on Zoom calls. We had to, it was so much going on where you had to have your phone charged and Wi-Fi strong enough so you can be clear to the other person on that side. So I would just tell any entrepreneur that's watching this to just make sure you do your research. Oh, make sure it feels good to you, right? Because I can do many things, but it's some things that I know that I could probably just make quick money, but it doesn't feel good to me. And not because it's a bad thing. It's just that I don't get excited. I don't get excited about doing that thing. So why put energy into something I'm not excited? I'd rather get the energy to work towards something that I'm really excited about. Because I could say, oh, I'm just going to be a web designer or a graphic designer, but I know that I don't really have the skill set to do that. I can do a website to get that brand active on the World Wide Web and be able to sell or be able to click to, but I won't sell myself as a graphic or a web designer because then people will expect me to see this the all the bells and whistles. I can't even think of the C. What is it?
Chief
All
marketing
yeah,
officer, chief financial
all the
officer.
things, yeah, to connect them and make them this, that, and the other. And I don't oversell and underdeliver. I tell them the real deal. I can get you onto this website. We can create this platform. People will be able to do emails. They'll be able to purchase a product. You'll be able to respond. I can give you the bare minimum. I'm not going to say I can build you one and put coding and all that stuff. I won't oversell myself because that's a lot of energy. And then now it's draining me that I lied about a service that I can provide. So I'm very clear with what excites me. So it excites me to do a website for that one setting, and here you go. It's exciting for me to do a graphic and here you go. But it's more exciting for me to plan an event. It's exciting for me to create activations. It's exciting for me to do a discovery call for 20 minutes. So those things that excite me, I just run towards those things instead of picking up these little things. Because little money is going to get you to that. But if I stop all of that and say, if I'm going to charge $5,000 to do a specific thing, why do a bunch of $200 things? Why not wait to get to that 5,000? Because once a person pays you that $5,000,
Yeah.
somebody
Belief.
else is going to pay you.
Everybody changes,
Yeah,
right?
it's like somebody else is that's like if one person watches this, that means another person is going to watch this. That means another person. So whether that's a slow burn or if it's a fast, by us collabing on social media, they're gonna learn you. Your people are gonna learn me. So I just say run towards the things that make you happy. That's
I
that
like that.
that will help you get closer to success. When I moved here to Georgia 8 years ago, I put in my 2 weeks notice and I packed up my Honda Accord. I probably had a little under $3,000 in my savings account. Um, so I'm originally from Philadelphia, drove through Maryland. My dad didn't have a license at the time, so I'm ready to take this 14-hour drive in this little, when I say a two-door coupe, it
Hmm.
was a Honda Accord. This is 2015. I was driving a 2001, so you can only imagine
The
the
problems you
how
had.
comfortable, you know what I'm saying? Like and we hit a pothole
Hmm.
going. I did not need gas at all. I still had a quarter of a tank, and I could have just kept on pushing. And I was like, let me get gas. Let me go ahead and get gas. And prior to me moving, it's like I heard God tell me to move. I heard him say like completion. I heard him say seven. Like I'm hearing all these things. I'm like, ooh, this is blowing my mind. And I came to Atlanta and for the Hoodie Awards, Steve Harvey has the Hoodie Awards, and I was doing promotion for E1 and for gospel artists like Erica Campbell and all that stuff. So we're at the Hoodie Awards. Never been to Atlanta as an adult. I was here when my aunt was on radio here back in 2001. So it was kind of like I was young with my mom, so I couldn't go nowhere, drink, or just me an adult go into a bar and be like, oh, this is life, this is adulthood.
Hmm.
And I came back in January. I was like, I love Atlanta. I came back. I went to a church, Bishop William Murphy, and he said March is the month of rebuilding. And what I didn't really understand because I was visiting is that the church was moving in March. Like that was a part of his sermon, that they were moving to location. And he was like, March is the month for moving and like all these things. I was like, March, March, March. And I was like, I feel so comfortable here. And I put in my 2 weeks notice. I set to move March. I moved here March 18th, and I set to move here March 14th, and I really think God was telling me, I did not tell you to leave yet. Because when I was moving, it was so much chaos. It was friendships being broken because I needed them to help me move. It was chaotic. And God caused that. Like he allowed me to go through that because I feel like he did not want me to move yet. So when he wanted me to be here was March 18th, not March 15th. You see, so as soon as I pulled into my uncle's house where I stayed for 8 or 9 months, I parked my car and went to an event. Then the next day I went to 2 events. You see, God was like, I messed up my catalytic converter. I wound up spending almost another $1,000. I just had my transmission rebuilt, so I'm ready to hit the road. And now God said, okay, nope, I need you to sit in this. I'll tell you when you can go. And that's what happened. So, I mean, the rest is
So
history.
you're basically saying you got to be nimble, you got to be able to pivot, you've got to take
yeah,
chances, and then you got
yeah.
to take the bumps along the
Yeah,
way.
and you got to listen, and you have to like sit and listen. I mean, people watching this, I don't know who, what anybody's spiritual beliefs or whatever you believe in or whatever you pray to, but sometimes you got to listen. And even if you don't hear anything, sometimes you have to be smart enough to have the conversation with somebody who has done it, like a mentor. Don't talk to people that are not going to take this risk or don't work a 9 to 5 or don't have the same mindset. You have to connect yourself with the same people, same like-minded people. Because if I would have asked my mom, I wouldn't be sitting in my house that I just
Yeah.
bought a year ago. I would be still in Philadelphia because she doesn't know to leap because she's 68. Her parents passed away before she was 19. She only knows to go to work and raise it, and raise and pay bills. I couldn't get no advice from her. To this day, I can't, because like any entrepreneur watching this, if your parent is not an entrepreneur, they don't understand.
Yeah.
They're just like, are you healthy? You got something to eat? They're going to ask the things that a parent will ask, but you can't talk to them about W-9s and 1099s and federal this and that and the other. You can't. And
And
in the sense of working, not saying
yeah.
that people's parents don't know the IRS. I'm just meaning those things that get you to the next level and
But you're saying
of
that I
success.
think that's the key, is to get to the next level. You've got to ask somebody who's been where you are, but now
Yeah.
has what you want. You
And let
got
me.
a ton of different wisdom. Isaac, how do people find you?
Oh, it's over already.
No, I
No.
mean, tell me, how do people find you? Because I want to make sure
Oh,
that
yeah.
we're
Social
following each
media.
other now. Yeah,
Okay, social media.
yeah,
It's Izzy Ike. That's IZZYIKE. That's on all platforms. TikTok, not Twitter so much. I am three media is my Twitter, but I don't really be on Twitter too much. But Izzy Ike on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook. That's IZZYIKE. And then Instagram has that new thing called Threads.
yeah.
So I did sign up for that. Um, yeah, so that's how people can get
And
in
what's
touch
the
with me.
name
And
of
then
your book that's coming out? Show us the name of your
so
past book.
so this is the workbook. So this book actually came out a year ago, but I'm really like pushing it. But as you can see, it's called the Playbook.
Yeah,
So like play by play. So even this design, I created this design and I just started adding circles, you know, and you can look at this and say, okay, the circles mean this, the circles mean that, but like this mark could look like a coffee cup. You know how you sit a coffee cup down? So
yeah.
that could be you working, that could be you going and that could be you doodling as you're coming up with creative ideas. The swear. So you can really take this book and kind of just like, kind of grab from this will motivate you by itself, because I really wanted to start this off. I kind of gave it, because it's a playbook, I made it orange like a basketball that
Mhm.
puts you in the game.
Yeah,
These are colors, these are thought provoking colors and images, so you're like, I feel like I'm playing a basketball game.
yeah,
I feel like I'm playing a sport. And then when you open it up, you have activities. You have these activities, SWOT analysis. I put questions in there. So you got all this, and the book comes with a pencil. So you
you
can't say I'm not prepared. You're not like, hey, once the book gets to you, you have a pencil. I'm asking questions like, what is your brand? Who is your target audience?
yeah,
What is your brand's personality? A lot of times people don't know. You ever go into like a skateboarding store, and it's loud music, right? Because that's the personality of the clientele, the
yeah,
target demographic. But you go into a boutique that sells candles, it's going to be the smell, it's going to be some soothing white noise or some type of
yeah.
rain or whatever. But that's the brand's personality for that person to come in. I always use the analogy how we compare like Walmart to Target. It's like, to go to Walmart, you just run in there. You don't even get washed. You just like, I'm going to Walmart. You just get up and go, flip flops. But when you go to Target, you're like, hey, I'm taking a shower, I'm going to Target, I'm gonna wear my new tie. Like, it's like, why did you do all of that for Target? But their brand's personality
Yeah.
allows you to think, I may run into somebody at Target.
So how does that differ
Walmart.
then? How do you get a person then with your brand advice to go from a Walmart mentality maybe to a Target mentality then to a boutique mentality? How do you get that person to
Mhm.
shift to be able to go
Well,
from a small product sell to a big product sell?
so when it comes to like Target and Walmart, they're selling the same products, right? And they're now all selling grocery store. Like
Mhm.
they have a grocery part. And then so now I'm here in Georgia, so we have Kroger. So I can go into Walmart, get a t-shirt and get some eggs, right? So not all people will look at Walmart and Target to be higher end, lower end, but sometimes people need to jump to come into look at Dunkin' Donuts and Starbucks. The object, the reason we're going into any of these venues, any of these stores, is to put caffeine into their system, right? But then you say caffeine is caffeine, right? Let's just say that, even though we know that Dunkin' Donuts get their coffee from this place and Starbucks get it from here, but the end goal is to get energy into your body. The problem is Dunkin' Donuts, their mantra is like on the go or on the run,
Yeah.
coffee on the run. If I'm a nurse if I'm a firefighter, if I'm have a daycare, if I'm walking a dog, those are things you need to run in there and get it. You don't care what it tastes like. You just want the end result is the caffeine to give me the energy to do this high energy function thing. But if you go to a Starbucks, you'll see a CEO.
Yeah.
You'll see a CEO. You'll see a man with an assistant, a woman with an assistant. Like you'll see business people who have more time to sit around and talk to people and may talk about what you see in the stock market or stuff. So the clientele is different. The need and the purpose is to give energy, right? It's to put the caffeine in, but Dunkin' Donuts, you know that you're going to run in, get your stuff, and go out.
Yeah.
Starbucks is like, I'm going to go in, I may sit over here and read a book. I may sit and read a newspaper. So you see, the goal is to put caffeine in the person's system, but it's what your experience is going to be.
Yeah.
So I don't think it's a right or wrong. It's just what you want your target demographic to experience once they come to your door, whether they are on your website or however they receive your product. Because I can have an inexpensive product, but my packaging is amazing.
Yeah.
I can have a expensive product and my package come in a brown box, but the product that I'm putting in my hair is so expensive. You don't care that it comes in a white box.
Well,
but the person with
put
the
it in your
inexpensive
beard,
product.
and I guess I'd have to grow a beard if you're going to put it in your hair there. So I think we've got the same hairdo going on.
I think we probably got the same. I think we got the same pattern because during the pandemic, my hair would not grow at all. I'm like, and it doesn't grow here, but it wouldn't grow. It would not grow no higher than this. For 3 months. I was like, why is it not? I said, this is a good test run. And it was like looking at me like, nope, might as well shave it. But I just think with every client is different, the different conversation. And then it's what's the success? What is that success? Is it to overcharge people or undercharge, or who's your demographic? So that's always important. That's one of the first questions that I ask, because sometimes people are not trying to get to the millionaires. They're just trying to get to the middle class. They're just trying to get to a person that is collecting a check every 2 weeks that can afford this product. Yeah. And that are mothers or fathers that have a household that's going to, you ever go on Amazon, and a friend of mine gets on my nerves every time I talk to him. He's like, oh, wait, that's Amazon. And he has Amazon products on recycle, on retainer, because every 3 months he needs laundry detergent, this, and the other. So sometimes your target demographic may be that person that has a family that just always needs these products coming in. They don't care about the long game.
This is what you go through with people then, is to help them establish their brand, help them understand who they're selling to. And I like what you said. Show again how it is that it's laid out. So it's just kind of a workbook that a person can go through to develop their brand and really understand what they're trying to sell and be focused then.
Yeah, so I'm asking about what's your why, and when I tell you that these are standard questions that people ask, but everybody doesn't lay it out the way that it's laid out, right? Because so this would attract people. This is black and white with some colors. Yeah. Here go another color. Remember I told you I'm a person who don't want to see a lot of words. So if you can distract me with colors, okay, there go some words. You're getting the same result. At the end of the day, you're going to hold yourself accountable. Then I also have it to where you can put some notes and stuff. So people that like to doodle, remember I told you this, that's somebody doodling. Yeah. If I could show you all the pieces of paper when I'm on the phone with a bill collector or somebody that's trying to get my business or whatever, I'm literally, I'm trying to find, because I'm going to show you. So here we go. So this is my signature, but this is what I do when I'm on the phone with somebody. But I said, oh, this is cool. It's kind of like, look, it's flowers in there. It's the little doilies, but that is soothing for me to keep on writing my signature and then doodling and stuff like that while I'm on the phone. And I'm paying attention, but I need to multitask while I'm listening, right? Because now I'm too focused. So I feel like everybody has their own thing. Because I don't know what you're doing on that side of on the screen. But when you get done, you be like, oh, that was a good interview. And you probably got like a bunch of check marks or something.
You're better than me. I mean, I've got, for me, I have to completely pay attention. And what I find is if I don't, then I lose track of it. Just ask my wife. I'm hearing, but I'm not listening. So I'm looking right at that camera and then
see that sounds like husband problems. See, I'm single. So.
She's stuck with me for 25 years, so I must be getting a little bit better, right?
Now you need to ask people like, babe, have you been listening for these funny? Because maybe she's not
No, she
listening, right?
knows,
She's
man.
just
She
like,
knows when I'm not there. She's like, "You're not listening." I'm like, "Yes, I am," and she brings me back. But Isaac, it has been awesome to have you on here and
man, thank you so
spend some more
much.
time
I,
together.
lo- I I really love doing like interviews and panels and stuff like that. And I really want to get into more like TED Talk speaking. So I'm trying to get out of that fear. Like I'm not perfect by far. So I do get scared when it's just me talking and people looking for answers. But if I can sit on the panel and talk to people and have great dialogue with them, like my genre. Like that's where I need to stay in. And I have to own that.
Well, you've
But I'm also
epitomized. I think you
working on.
epitomize an entrepreneur. You dream. You dream big. You pick the things that you want to do. So I don't doubt at all that we're going to see you on a TED Talk soon. I'm sure you're already on panels, but thank you so much for being with us, and
Thank you for having me.
forward to another conversation.
Oh yeah, no, I will definitely come back on, and once it's posted, I'm excited to share it and let people know I know you.
Cool.
Because then I don't know where you're going to be in 2 years, and I'm like, he's TED talking, but yeah, I did him,
lost
you know,
all
I mean,
my
in the
hair so
background.
I could be like Joe Rogan, right? So I don't know what I could do the tats, but you know what? At least we got the
Right.
same hair. Good to be with you, Isaac.
Thank you so much for having me.